Today I'm cutting the last round of trees and I'm really so happy to be done with this working phase. I truly cannot even believe it that this day has come. When I started, I was the most scared about cutting down the trees because I've never done cutting down the trees of this size before, and also knowing that I will have to do it all by myself was a bit scary. But after I started and I did the first few trees, I knew that if I just stay really focused on what I'm doing and I try to be as careful as possible, even though I don't have really all the knowledge when it comes to cutting down the trees and all kind of notches and various cuts, but somehow I did it. I'm very thankful that I came to this day uninjured and nothing bad really happened, and hopefully also today I can finish without any problems. And I'm so excited to move on to actually building the log house. Well, today I have to cut around 20 trees. I need 25 logs, so from some bigger trees I can get 2 or maybe even 3 logs. And then in the next 2 weeks I'll be peeling slowly all these logs. I will also do the foundation, and then finally after months I'll be able to start working on the cabin. And some people have been asking me if I will start building with green logs and I will not leave them to season for a year or something like that, and I decided to simply just start building. I've been looking and asking some other people about this, and they told me that they've done before the log houses using green wood. You just have to know that it will shrink more, and you have to predict that the walls will lower, I don't know, maybe even 30 centimeters on the top because of the shrinkage when the logs will dry. And the logs always shrink just in diameter, never in length, so I mean, I think there shouldn't be much problems with using green wood. Some that I have to cut today are really big, at least to me, around 25 to 30 meters and about 50 centimeters in diameter. Before this project I've never been cutting trees more than 30 centimeters in diameter, and probably I've cut 5 trees of that size. So this was quite a challenge for me, and I learned some new things, and I saw that some cuts that I've been doing were pretty dangerous and you couldn't really control exactly where the tree is gonna fall. So I had a friend here who did the license for the chainsaw, and he showed me a few of the cuts. I will try today to use this cut. I think it's called the pie cut in English, or I'm not really sure, but yeah, let's cut these trees because I can't wait to finish with this work. If you look at the cut, everything was done pretty much perfect. I'm really happy. This angle is pretty much the same of this, and also the 2 cuts that I did match together perfectly and are really flat. Also the notch that I left here couldn't be done better, but the only mistake, and I forgot to do, is to make a small cut here. So you disconnect these fibers, because otherwise you get a splinter like it happened to me here. All you have to do is just make a small cut a bit lower than the notch to disconnect these fibers that go up from the stump. And if I did that, this cut would have been really perfect. I think I couldn't done it better. And also this pie cut or however it's called, is really a lot more controlled, because first you do the notch and everything, and you just leave a small area in the back that is not cut and still connects the tree, and then you put in the wedges, and all you do is, I like to cut this in a bit of an angle, not straight. It's just in case that the tree leans back and it doesn't blocks the chainsaw. But then again, you also have to know that this kind of cut can be used when the tree is already leaning to the side where you want to fall it. Otherwise you have some other techniques, and there are different cuts for different situations, depending on where the tree is leaning to or where you want to fall it. There's a lot of factors that play what kind of cut is better to choose, and I'm still learning this myself, so probably I'm not the best person to really tell you about all these cuts. Another thing I saw that I was doing wrong is when cleaning the branches, I was using too much of my force to hold up the chainsaw. The way to do it that is much easier, and it's gonna save you your arms and your elbows over the time, is if you just try to slide on the trunk. I know that is not always possible, but looking at my videos, I pretty much had always the chainsaw up and my elbows out, which is really bad for the elbows. This time the cut went really good. So happy that I learned a more safer way to fall down the trees, and it's also a lot more controlled. The tree fell exactly where I wanted, and I've seen in one of my videos I did an X flip like this, and a lot of people were impressed. I do these X flips all the time with my friends. We pass even hours just trying who can do more flips or who can do it from the farthest distance. This is the last tree that I'm cutting, and I think it's going to be a really tricky one. Probably you can see also on the camera that is leaning completely to the opposite side of where I want it to fall. I would like that it falls to that side, because that way I can pull it easily out with the tractor. I hope all goes well and I'm done with this part of the work. It fell right where I wanted, and I got the double X flip first try, so I think this was a really good day. What I learned during this work is that you have to be completely 100% focused on what you're doing. Otherwise, if you start thinking that you have everything under control and you take it too lightly, things can go wrong in a moment, and there is no turning back. So I really try to be focused on the thing that I was doing at the moment. Even though filming and working at the same time at the moments can be a bit dangerous, because you're thinking if I have the right shot or if the camera is still filming and all of that stuff. So it was quite a challenge to do this and film everything. I didn't film all the trees that I've cut today, but I've showed already so many clips of the trees falling and cutting. I think is enough for now. Today I came to one of my secret spots for the sunset. It's actually just 100 meters from my house, and on this spine you can see pretty much everything from the Alps all the way to the Adriatic Sea. Around here is pretty hard to find an open spot where you can see the landscape and the mountains around, because it's everything pretty much covered in forest. Even the surrounding mountain tops are all covered with trees. From this tree here you can see a pretty good part of the surrounding landscape. Today is the last day of this year, and I took a day off from the work to rest a bit and regain the strength. Even if I've been here already hundreds, if not thousands of times, it just never gets old. The view, it's always incredible. I love so much how the colors change during the sunsets. Even when the sun is already behind, and for 20-30 minutes the colors in the clouds and in the sky are still changing from the bright orange, then they start to become more and more dark red and almost purple. This tree was actually 33 meters high. I got 2 really big logs out of it, and I'm pretty sure it was the biggest tree that I've cut since the beginning. few days ago I broke the pulley that I was using to lift the logs on the dolly. Then during the holidays I was not able to find the pulley anywhere, so I was thinking how I could lift the logs, and I didn't want to use the come along like I did in the beginning. I wanted to see if there's a easier way to lift them up, and someone under the comments suggested to me to try this solution. It's really simple, and if it's going to work as it should, it could be the easiest way to lift the logs that I've tried so far. It's basically just a V from two logs. I connected the two logs there with a steel rod, and I dug a bit of a hole so I have more chance that the logs will block, because I tried before and the logs were just sliding. Also the ground is frozen, so it's not so easy that it will block by itself. Hopefully it's strong enough and it will lift the log up. It actually worked. I just had a bit of problems that it just kept sliding on, even if I dug the holes. So I put two rocks that the weight pushed down into the ground. Probably I have to modify a bit the end of the log, so it kinda, I don't know exactly how, but or put a metal plate at the end so it blocks into the ground or something like that. But yeah, probably this is the easiest solution to lift up the log. Now I'm thinking why I didn't come up with this idea at the very beginning, as it's so simple and it's much easier than what I've been doing before. Sometimes you just have to try different solutions and see for yourself what works better and what doesn't work. That's how I usually learn most of the things that I know. Also with falling down the trees and just anything I do, I learned from my experience. I didn't have, other than my father showing me and teaching me some things when I was younger, but then from like 15, 17 on, I pretty much did all of the work myself, and I learned from the mistakes and from the experience, and I saw what works, what doesn't work, and I'm still learning every day. It's pretty incredible that nothing broke until now. It's just a small crack here and under here a few welds, and it's gonna be like new. I hope something more crucial doesn't break and I can finish this last 10 logs, and then this thing can retire. It took a lot of beating and flips and all kind of torture. I think it deserves a bit of rest. That was the last log I had to take out of the forest, and I'm really just so thankful that everything went without the problems. Even the dolly didn't flip one time while transporting from the forest to here, and I'm just really happy that I'm done also with that part of the work. Now I need to peel all the logs, and I think I have around 30 logs. I already peeled 3, so that means 27 logs to peel. If I do in average 2 every day, I will need around 2 weeks. It's not that bad. 2 in a day I can do easily. But it looks quite intimidating to have a pile of logs this big, because usually I always took like 5 or 10 logs maximum, then I peeled, then I went to take another round. That way it seems like I have less to peel, and I don't know, but it's a bit more demotivating when you see a pile of logs this big and you think, oh, I have to do all these logs. We're also having a bit of snow today, but not so much that it makes work any harder or any more complicated. It's really nice to have a bit of snow after I think all winter there was just one snowfall at the beginning, and then or was rain, or in the last period was really dry, and it went really perfect. It couldn't went any better. I took all the logs out until the ground was dry and frozen, so now would be a bit complicated to take out the logs, because even if it's just like 2 or 3 centimeters of snow, when you are going downhill or up, the tractor slides out really quickly, and it's very dangerous. So I'm just so happy that it went like it did, and I have all the logs here now. I just need to peel them, and that's it. I have the last 5 logs to peel and then it's done with peeling. The only problem is that I have the last 2 days of good weather and then the snow and I think really bad weather will start. If I will be lucky enough and finish these 5 logs until tomorrow, I would be really happy, but I think it's going to be pretty hard and maybe not possible. But anyway, I'm almost done and I'm just, I don't know, I just can't believe that I made it this far. Also, I can see the difference between the last 3 weeks. I've cut down, took out of the forest and I've peeled 30 logs. Before that, it took me around 2 months to peel 30 logs. So the good weather in the last weeks really helped me a lot. Also, if it's going to snow a lot in next days, probably I will have a hard time to start with the foundation. So I will have to see how much snow and how everything will go in the next days and what I will be able to do. Also, I had to do the second row of logs, but just in the last third of the pile, so that's not a big problem. The only little problem is that the logs came all the way up to the ramp where I'm peeling and I have another 5 logs, so I will have to peel a bit lower the last few logs, but that's not really a big problem. And as I'm having so much bark that I've peeled off the logs, one of my friends came up with this idea to make like bundles of bark that later we will dry at home and then use it as a fire starter, or maybe even sell it to other people, because I really have so much bark that I don't know what to do. I will try to store as much as possible and then have it as a fire starter for the maybe for the next 5 or 10 years. Right now I'm on the last log and the rainstorm is coming closer and closer. I can already feel the raindrops. So for this last log I really have to put it in the high gear. It would be so good if I can finish before it starts raining or snowing. Also the wind is picking up, so the storm is really close. This is it. I finished with peeling and I cannot even explain how happy am I to done with this phase of the work. Because when I started I was the most scared about, not really scared, but I was the most worried about peeling all these logs by myself. If anyone did this, you know just how much work it is. And I've peeled it all, not just the top layer of the bark, but I've peeled away even the first 2 layers of the wood. because those two first layers are pretty soft and are not so good. It's better if you take away those layers, and that way the wood will last longer. And also to all the people that suggested doing it with the chainsaw grinder, or I don't know exactly how it's called, or with some other tools, in my opinion the best it is to do it with the draw knife, because it leaves really smooth and it doesn't leave any gaps in the wood. That way the wood will last longer and you have less chances for the decay. Because if the wood is split and you have splinters or just any type of the surface that is not smooth, there is more chance that the rain or any moisture will be getting stuck there and it will start to rot quicker. It's really worth taking a bit more effort and time and peel them good, and hopefully the logs will last longer. And also, to me, they look really amazing when you do it with a draw knife, especially when you get the technique and you do the long and clean cuts. The rain is starting pretty much the moment I finish with the peeling. I really cannot believe how perfect it went. I expected the rain to start this morning, but somehow it held until now. I'm pretty sure that tomorrow morning we'll have a good amount of snow. At first it will start raining, but then during the night the winds will switch to the north and also the rain will switch to snow, and tomorrow morning is gonna be a completely different story than now. Also, one of my friends asked me maybe a month ago or even more that he would like to have some snow, and I said to him, just wait that I finish with the peeling and then I will order you some snow. And it went exactly like that. Tomorrow morning we'll have snow, and I don't know, whoever higher power or I don't know who was watching over me in this last month, I'm really thankful for how good the things went and no injuries and nothing like that. I hope it stays this way in the following months and in the next stages of the build, because really any injury or if the snow will last for longer, then I will have problems with the foundation. But anyway, that's all part of the journey, and I'm pretty sure I can find some other things that I can do in that period. There's always something that you can take advantage of the weather or the situation that you're in. It's really such a big relief to know that the peeling is behind me, and there were 4 pretty difficult months. I dedicated most of my time to this job, and I also had to cut down all the trees myself, take them out of the forest, and yeah, I mean, I just proved that you can do it even if you're alone. And to anyone that wants to do something similar to what I'm doing, but maybe you're thinking that you cannot do it by yourself, as long as you're really passionate about and you have the drive, you will do it no matter what. Even if you're alone or you have 10 people, I mean, it doesn't matter. If you want to do it, you will do it. I really like to encourage anyone to just go and at least give it a try. I mean, the worst is if you don't even try to do it. Not every time you will succeed. Even myself, I came across many failures. There's a lot of things that I've done in life. I've spent months and even years working on it, and then I just realized at one point that it's not gonna come out as I was hoping to, but that just gave me confidence and knowledge when I went and started a new project or just anything else I did. You know what to expect or what can go wrong, and you learn from those lessons. So if I didn't do so many other projects like treehouse or the first log house that many people, especially on the YouTube, call it that is a waste of time and that is a really shitty house and just whatever. If I didn't do all those projects first, it's impossible that you go straight into a project like this. So whatever you're doing, know that it's a step to get to where you want to be, and don't be discouraged by people saying that it's a waste of time or anything like that. In my opinion, a lot of times people that say those things are just jealous of what you're doing, because I know myself, if I see somebody else doing, even if it's a project that to me is really easy or whatever, I would encourage them to do that, and I would never go and say, oh, that is shit, that is a waste of time. If you do that, I think it's something wrong with you and not with the person that's building it. At least the other person is doing something, and maybe ask yourself what you are doing that you have the right to criticize, or not even criticize, but just put somebody's work into nothing. Because there's a huge difference between constructive criticism and trying to help, or just being disrespectful and trying to put other people down. So I think this is all for this episode, and I can't wait to have the foundation set and then just start putting the logs on the place. I mean, that is gonna be a big moment for me, and I'm really looking forward to it. And again, I would like to say thanks to each and every person that's watching my videos. You really cannot imagine how much it means to me, all the positive comments and suggestions and just whatever, even a few negative comments. I mean, that motivates me to show those people that they are wrong and what I can achieve. And especially, I mean, thanks to all the people that support me on this journey. It's been a dream of mine for a long time to do this. It's not by any means easy, but for me, each day I wake up just excited to come and do this. And I think as long as you are doing something that you are excited each day, I mean, before I go to sleep, I cannot even wait to wake up the next morning and come and work on this project. And when you are excited about your work, I don't even look at it as work. For me, it's really something that I enjoy doing, and I learn a lot about working with wood, and I learn a lot about myself, about my limits, what I can do, and to me that's all I ever wanted to do. And I don't have a time in my week that I'm like, I cannot wait for this day, so then I have 2 days of rest, and then I'm like, oh, it's Monday again. For me, pretty much every day is the same. I work every day till I can see, till it's not dark. A lot of times even I work in the dark, and most of the time I work even 10 hours a day, and if I didn't have to sleep and get my body to recover, probably I would work just all the day. But it's very important to take a rest and recover, otherwise your body will just get burned out, and then it's impossible to do any work, and it's so easy to get injured. I also learned there were a few times when I peeled 5 or 7 logs in a day, and then the next day I was pretty tired and it was hard to peel even 1 or 2 logs. And in the last 3 weeks I've peeled in an average around 3 logs, and I was able to do that every day, and I didn't get really tired. The next day I felt good, so I did another 3 logs, and I think in 2 weeks I peeled 30 logs, which before took me even 2 months to peel 30 logs. I saw that it's much better to do less, but that you are able to do it every day than push really to the maximum, and then for the next day or two you feel too tired to do anything. So it's all about finding that right balance and then just going with that flow. And also it's very important to do other things, because if I would do for 4 months just this, I would get crazy. I do a lot of other things in the evening, from playing basketball, football, yoga. I also started doing acro yoga, and I do just really a lot of things. so that it gives me balance with this work and that I get and meet new people, because when I'm working here I'm most of the time really alone, and doing that for a long period of time it's just not good, and you start to close in, and I don't know, I saw from my past experience that that is not a good thing, so I try to keep a balance between the work and between social life and everything else. But yeah, that's it. The rain is starting and I will take all the tools and finish the day.